$80 million, printed out of thin air. Not by a government, not by a central bank, but by a single hacker who broke into a stablecoin protocol, minted fake tokens worth more than most people will earn in 1,000 lifetimes, and then swapped them for Ethereum before anyone could blink. On March 22, 2026, the stablecoin USR lost 97.5% of its value in hours. Investors watched their dollars become pennies. And the method the hacker used? It wasn't some genius code exploit. It was something far simpler and far more terrifying. In the next 7 minutes, I'll break down exactly how this happened, why 18 security audits failed to prevent it, and what this means for every single dollar you have sitting in DeFi. The most shocking part comes at the very end. Before the hack, Resolv Labs was a rising star. Their stablecoin USR used a delta-neutral strategy, backing each token with Ethereum, and Bitcoin hedged through derivatives. Think of it like a seesaw perfectly balanced. When crypto goes up on one side, the hedge pushes down on the other, keeping USR locked at exactly $1. It was elegant. It was trusted. The protocol had undergone 18 separate security audits. 18. That's more background checks than most people get in their entire careers. Investors poured money in. Jay, a freelance developer in Austin, moved $30,000 of his savings into USR yield vaults last January. The returns were steady, around 6% annually. Nothing flashy, nothing suspicious, just quiet, reliable income. Jay told his friends it was the safest place in DeFi. The community grew. Total value locked climbed past $400 million. Resolv was featured in major crypto publications as a model of responsible protocol design. Everyone believed the seesaw would never tip. But here's what nobody understood. The seesaw wasn't bolted to the ground. But here's the thing. The hacker never touched the smart contract code. Not a single line. Instead, they went after something far more vulnerable, the human layer. Resolv Labs stored their administrative private keys using Amazon Web Services Key Management Service. The hacker breached that infrastructure, extracted the privileged keys, and suddenly held the master switch to the entire protocol. Imagine a bank vault with walls 10 feet thick, laser grids, and biometric scanners. Now, imagine someone just stole the manager's keycard from his gym locker. That is exactly what happened here. With those keys, the hacker called the minting function directly. They deposited roughly $100,000 to $200,000 in collateral, then minted $80 million worth of USR. That is a 400-to-1 ratio. It is like putting a $20 bill into an ATM and watching it spit out $8,000. The freshly minted tokens flooded decentralized exchanges. Curve Uniswap. The hacker swapped USR for USDC, USDT, and finally converted everything into Ethereum. Within hours, $25 million in ETH sat in the hacker's wallet. The truly terrifying part? I'll reveal that shortly. But first, you need to understand what happened to everyone else holding USR. When 80 million fake dollars hit the open market, supply overwhelmed demand instantly. USR's price didn't slide. It collapsed from $1 to 25 cents in minutes, then to 10 cents, then to 2.5 cents. A 97.5% crash. If you had $10,000 in USR at breakfast, you had $250 by lunch. Jay saw the alerts on his phone during a client call. His $30,000 had become $750. He thought it was a glitch. It wasn't. Now here's where it gets wild. System administrators at Resolv Labs caught the attack while it was still happening. They froze the protocol, locking roughly $55 million of the minted USR before the hacker could drain it. That fast reaction saved the protocol from total annihilation, but $25 million was already gone. Resolv sent an on-chain message to the hacker. Return the funds and keep 10% as a bounty. $2.5 million, no questions asked. As of today, March 24th, the hacker has not responded. The funds sit in wallets being tracked by blockchain analytics firms, and centralized exchanges have been alerted to freeze any deposits. But Ethereum is decentralized by design. Freezing funds that never touch a centralized exchange is nearly impossible. The real kicker? Those 18 audits everyone celebrated? Every single one examined the smart contract code. Not one evaluated the off-chain key management infrastructure. The lock was perfect. Nobody checked who had the keys. You might be thinking this doesn't affect you. You don't hold USR? You've never heard of Resolv Labs? But consider this. If you have any money in DeFi, in any yield vault, any lending protocol, any stablecoin that isn't fully backed by cash in a regulated bank, you're trusting someone's private key management, and you probably have no idea how they store those keys. This is not just a Resolv problem. A 2025 report found that over 60% of major DeFi exploits involved compromised private keys or off-chain infrastructure failures, not smart contract bugs. The code can be flawless, the audits can be perfect, but if the admin key sits on a cloud server with a weak access policy, your money is one breach away from becoming worthless. What if Resolv had used a multi-signature wallet requiring 5 out of 9 key holders to approve? Any minting, the hacker would have needed to compromise 5 separate individuals or systems instead of one. The attack likely would have failed entirely. Jay is now liquidating what remains of his DeFi positions. He moved everything back to a hardware wallet. $30,000 became $750. That is not a market correction. That is a wipeout. And it happened not because the technology failed, but because the people running the technology cut a corner on key security. So let me ask you directly. Do you know how the protocols holding your money manage their admin keys? If the answer is no, you're flying blind at 30,000 feet. There is a ghost haunting this story. In 2022, Terra Luna's UST stablecoin collapsed, wiping out $40 billion and destroying lives. USR's crash carries an eerie resemblance. A stablecoin, promising stability. A community that believed. A catastrophic depeg that erased nearly everything. The difference is the cause. UST failed because of a flawed algorithmic design. USR failed because of a stolen key. But the result for holders is identical. Devastation. Industry analysts are already saying USR is unlikely to recover from an 80% depeg. The trust is shattered. And trust in crypto is the only collateral that truly matters. What makes this even more unsettling is the simplicity. This was not a sophisticated zero-day exploit. This was a key left in a place where it could be found. The most expensive lock in the world means nothing if you tape the key to the front door. We keep building stronger vaults and forgetting to protect the keys. 18 audits, $400 million locked. Thousands of investors who believed they were safe. All undone by a single point of failure that nobody thought to check. The question isn't whether another hack like this will happen. It will. The question is whether you will be the one holding the bag when it does. How are you protecting your assets right now? Drop your answer in the comments. If this breakdown helped you understand what really happened, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss a critical story like this. Share this video with anyone who has money in DeFi. They need to hear this before the next hack hits.